Hi everybody, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and comment on them, and don't pay that close of attention to the calendar. Today is actually the 11th and not the 10th, as I might have put in the YouTube thing and on Twitch, but it's okay. It'll all work out. Because we're looking at the past. We're not looking at now, today. It's kind of the point. We're kind of burying our heads in the sands of time. So, it seems like the past was easier. Maybe not so much, but here's an example where the spelling is easy. Enjoy.
First I put a little soda in. Then I put some vinegar in. Then I put the cork on tightly.
That completes our procedure. Now watch the bottle closely. See how it's fizzing and bubbling? You aren't hurt, are you, Helen?
Oh, no, Miss Phillips.
Well, I think the school paper would print a report of our experiment. Who would like to write it? Thomas Stafford, do you think you can do it?
Oh, yes, Miss Phillips.
Tomorrow morning is the deadline, so you better stay after school a while to write your report.
What's the matter, Tom? Having trouble writing the report? No, don't look for me, Tom. You can't see me. But I can see you. A lot of us can see you. You seem to be worried. What's the matter?
I don't know how to spell procedure, and the school paper won't accept anything if there's even one word misspelled.
Oh, that's bad. Let's see what you've done so far. On Tuesday, the 5th grade had an experiment with blowing the cork off the top of a bottle. Agnes Jackson prepared it. Agnes went to the cabinet and got some soda and vinegar. She put some soda in the bottle, and then she put in a little vinegar.
That's why I'm stuck. That's the word I can't spell.
I'm afraid that's not the only word you can't spell. Take a look at that paper. Look at prepare, cabinet, vinegar, more vinegar. I'm afraid you'd never see that report in the newspaper, and there's no need for it, Tom. Spelling is easy.
Easy for you, maybe.
Easy for you. For anybody. Here, look over at the blackboard.
There's nothing on it.
Oh, no?
Say, that's a pretty good trick.
Not half so good a trick as using the rules to improve your spelling.
What are they?
Look and see. We'll take them one at a time. First, hear the word. Hear it correctly pronounced, for that often tells you how to spell it. Now, what's your first misspelled word?
Pear.
Try saying it more carefully.
Prepare. 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 Say, it's prepare, not prepare.
Now look at the second misspelled word.
Cabinet. Cabinet. Well, that looks right.
When you're pronouncing a word to learn how to spell it, it helps to divide it into syllables or pronounceable parts.
Cabinet. 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 Oh, I see, it's cabinet.
When you're not sure how to pronounce the word, get someone else to pronounce it for you. Your teacher,
Cabinet.
your parent,
Cabinet.
one of the older children.
Cabinet.
All right? Now the next word.
Vinegar. Vinegar. That's the way Miss Phillips says it, vinegar.
Yes, but we can't always tell by pronunciation. That's why we need more than one rule. Here's the second rule. See the word. Look at it closely. Make a picture of it in your mind. No, Tom, not there. Look where you'll see the word spelled correctly. Well, where would you expect to see vinegar spelled correctly?
Oh, I see. It's spelled V-I-N-E-G-A-R.
All right. Ready for the third rule. 3, repeat the word. Repeat it clearly.
Vinegar. 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 I've got to remember it's really A-R when it sounds like E-R.
To help you remember, there's a fourth rule. Write the word. Try it. Over there on the blackboard. No, Tom, take the bottle with you. You'll see why in a minute. Now for the final rule. 5, check the word. Compare your copy with the original. That's to make sure you've copied it correctly and to plant the correct spelling in your mind.
Oh, I think I've got it.
Good. Then let's put the vinegar away and get back to your paper.
All right. Vinegar.
Now the other one.
Vinegar. If I say it much more, I'll begin to taste it.
Maybe we should be writing about ice cream.
Yeah, chocolate. Chocolate. Anyway, that brings us down to procedure.
All right, let's work it out with our 5 rules. First, hear the word.
Procedure.
You're wrong, Tom. Now think. Where have you heard the word pronounced correctly?
I know, Miss Phillips. She was standing right there.
All right, then let's bring her back a minute.
That completes our procedure.
Oh, I get it. Procedure.
Now, where can you take the second step? Look at the word.
Gosh, I don't know.
Well, there's one place you can be sure to find the correct spelling of any word. The dictionary.
Oh, sure. Here it is. Here's procedure.
Repeat it to yourself.
Procedure. Procedure.
That's it. Rule number 4. Write the word. Finally, check it against the original. Look all right?
It's perfect. Now I've got your procedure. Say, that's good.
Well, now, hadn't we better get back and finish the report?
Yeah, that's right. I've nearly finished anyway.
Wait a minute, Tom.
What's the matter?
The word blue. It's what we call a homonym.
A what?
We'd better get that dictionary over here and look it up. H-O-M-O-N-Y-M.
Any 2 or more words of the same sound, but different in meaning and often in spelling. Well, we've got some charts about them.
Let's look at them.
Good idea.
This chart doesn't help us. Let's look at another.
Oh, sure. What I wrote is the color. I should have written B-L-E-W.
Quite a difference. And now...
Don't tell me, I know. First you write the word, and then you check it.
Good. You'll be all right now. But I do have one final suggestion for you.
What's that?
Ever notice Dick Harris and Agnes Jackson doing their spelling lesson?
What about him?
Let's imagine for a minute they're back at their desks. I'll show you. Whenever they run up against words that give trouble, Agnes copies the word into a personal dictionary. She made it herself. Dick does the same thing. With a personal dictionary like this, you can always be sure of a handy place to look at a word if it gives you any more trouble. That's all we need them for, but it seems to me...
I know. You think it would be a good idea if I made a personal dictionary. And I'll start it with blue, vinegar, and procedure.
You don't need me anymore, so I'll just... Uh-oh, the blackboard. We'd better erase the rules. Somebody might wonder how they got there.
Yeah, somebody might.
Well, goodbye, Tom. And good luck with your report.
Thanks. Thanks a whole lot.
That was very interesting, David, and very well done. Yes, what is it, Thomas?
May I write up Dave's experiment for the paper?
Why, certainly. After the fine report you made of Agnes's experiment last week, first thing you know, you'll be our official reporter.
Oh, thank you, Miss Phillips.
Although, frankly, Thomas, I'm still surprised at the sudden improvement in your spelling.
Wow. A disembodied voice. I can see you. We all can see you. What a nightmarish situation for our main character. The other thing is that voice sounded like a young Mike Wallace. And Mike Wallace did do narration for some Cornette films, like early Cornette, like Shy Guy. He's the narrator. So I'm just wondering if this is him again, haunting that poor young boy who is just trying to make a name for himself in the science class reporting. That's news. Like, anyways. Let's see. So behind me, I had it right the first time, is a film scanner, and I had my nephew Nate on here Friday. We watched some old educational films about computers, and we didn't have time for this one, but I really wanted to show it anyways because it's kind of cool. So here is Access. Enjoy.
The significance of computerized information systems might seem to be an abstract concern. But on the contrary, they are solving the very practical problem of the overabundance of information.
Thousands of articles are published in medical journals each year. How can a doctor find what he needs without wasting time?
There are hundreds of thousands of teachers in this country. How can we exchange our discoveries in the classroom?
There are hundreds of jobs available. Which one is right for me?
500 restaurants, each has its own menu.
30 airlines flying 1,000 flights a day.
700 houses for sale.
1,000 motels.
18 paid vacations.
400 campgrounds.
600,000 products.
1,300 newspapers.
15 theaters.
52
How
weekends.
can you make a decision?
There's too much to choose from.
What is relevant?
What is irrelevant?
Today, computerized information systems are providing easy access to information. Computers are like most tools. They can be used for a wide variety of tasks. Originally designed for computation, they are now being used to help you gain access to information, which is like looking for a needle in a haystack. The magnitude of the job may require some assistance. Unfortunately, traditional tools are not very effective, but computerized information retrieval systems offer a quick, powerful tool that makes short work of an otherwise difficult task. Systems will do more than find one needle. They will retrieve many needles, giving the searcher a small, relevant pile to choose from. One example is the dialogue system at the Office of Education, San Mateo County, California, where specialists answer requests for information from school teachers. Using the retrieval system, they search a database containing over 100,000 documents. Rapidly, the file is narrowed down to a small, pertinent subset. Five to 10 of the most relevant documents are chosen, and microfiche copies are sent to the teachers. Descriptions of more than 1.5 million satellite photographs of the Earth make up one of the databases of the NASA system. Each photograph is recorded as a citation, including location, date, cloud cover, type of terrain, and other features. Geologists, ecologists, agronomists, and other physical scientists can then easily determine which photographs pertain to their research. Once identified, reproductions are sent to them for their use. Another system in use at the House of Representatives handles more than 24,000 bills considered by Congress annually.
Yes, I understand the problem you're having. Let me check and find out where the bill is. I've forgotten just what happened on that. Just a second. Hold on, will you please?
Bill Status Office, Patty Costa, may I help you?
Hi. Yes, I need the information on the railroad retirement bill. I thought we'd passed that last spring. Can you check it for me, please?
One moment, please.
Yes?
May I ask your office, please?
Yes, I'm Congressman Pete McCloskey, California.
I believe the bill you would be interested in is H.R. 7200. That bill was introduced by Congressman Staggers and reported out of the Interstate and Foreign Commerce Committee. On May 22nd, it passed the House by a vote of 387 to 5. On June 19th, it passed the Senate by a voice vote, and after completing conference, was signed by the President on July 10.
It is now public law number 93-69.
Fine. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hello? Hi. Let me tell you what happened.
In April 1973, Congressman Wayne Hayes announced the introduction of this new information service. Within 6 months, the Bill Status Office was handling more than 800 calls a day from congressmen, government employees, and the public. It might seem that information travels only from the database to the user. However, the Spires system at Stanford University allows users to put information into their own databases. These can then be made available to the entire community of users. An example is a constantly growing restaurant file, created and maintained by student gourmets. This file contains the name, location, price range, type of food, and criticisms of each restaurant. After a careful search of the database, a prospective diner can make an informed choice based on the experience of others. Here, the leader system at Lehigh University is being used to demonstrate a simple search. The request is entered in language comfortable for the searcher. The system takes the major words in the request and immediately displays phrases containing those words. The searcher studies the phrases to decide which are most suitable. Abstracts of documents can then be displayed to see if they match the searcher's needs. Reading these may suggest other phrases, or the searcher may ask to have a list of related phrases shown. A searcher goes through the procedure of looking at phrases, then examining documents, repeating this process until satisfied. With the leader system and most others, a searcher typically spends 15 to 30 minutes at the terminal in order to retrieve about 50 documents. Another approach to searching encourages the user to break the request up into its basic concepts by grouping synonyms into sets. Then, by intersecting them, it's easy to see how many documents can be retrieved. If there are too many, it's possible to get only the most recent by applying a qualification like date after 1968. Concepts can be narrowed, broadened, or recombined until the searcher is satisfied. Just as with any powerful tool, education is necessary in order to use an information system effectively. Instruction works best if it is personally furnished the moment the need arises. Because there is a need, new systems are coming on the market every day. While each retrieval system is different from every other, they have a lot in common. It helps to think of them in terms of their structural components. The system interface provides the means of communication between a user and the information stored in a database. The users of these systems, scientists, lawyers, doctors, businessmen, and students, must use terminals for their part in the communication. Doctor, we must have a terminal. Thank you. Now let's consider the databases, which fall into three categories. Document retrieval is concerned with retrieving sets of individual records. Management information processing is concerned with retrieving and combining records into reports and graphs. Question answering is concerned with providing specific answers to a wide variety of questions. Presently, the functional needs of document retrieval are largely known. Management information processing is less well understood, and question answering remains in the research stage. In the future, as their functions increasingly overlap, the differences between these three will almost disappear, and generalized systems will emerge. Various media are used for storing the information in a database. While tapes are used for batch retrieval, interactive retrieval relies upon disks, drums, and data cells. For all types of users and databases, the important characteristic of interactive retrieval is the quick interchange of information, with the system interface providing the necessary means of communication. These systems have been designed to operate on many different computers. The performance of this hardware ought to be unobtrusive, freeing the user to concentrate on the task of retrieval. History has shown that the development of transportation technology encouraged the growth of our physical communities. Likewise, the development of communication technology stimulated the expansion of our intellectual communities. We can see evidence of this development in the evolution of magazines. Originally oriented toward general information for a large general public, they have been largely replaced by many special interest magazines, which reach smaller but more actively involved special interest groups. We may soon be seeing similar developments in news media. Instead of mass duplication of news for a general public, it may be possible for people to receive news in a way which reflects individual preferences for subject material. The problem for the future is reducing the cost of searching. Laser technology is one approach which reduces the cost of storing each bit of information by allowing trillions of bits to be stored in the space the size of a refrigerator. Today, searching costs range from $25 to $100 an hour. Networking would allow many people to share this expense. TimeNet is an example which connects people to computers by phone. Another is the ARPA network, which ties individual computers together. In the future, additional networks will reach many more communities.
Yes, it is. Most recent first, May 73 article.
As access to systems continues to increase, the professional intermediary will remain important. Two heads are better than one for solving problems.
Hi, I'd like a reservation for a campground if you serve.
When did you want to go?
Going through the training program, you're pretty much, in the
For 2 nights?
in the line.
3 nights.
Except you can only go so far with just
It is also likely that central information locations will develop where a person can pay a small fee to have a professional help with the retrieving.
We still have campsites available for those nights.
Okay, well, can we have 2 cars at one time?
Good afternoon, TWA reservations, Miss Beam. Let me see if it's coming in on time today.
As use of information systems becomes popular, there may not be enough intermediaries to meet the demand. Eventually, people will become accustomed to doing their own searching. An example of this is an experimental terminal in the corner of a record store in Berkeley, California. It is operated by a cooperative and presently is free to the public. Eventually, they hope to build a user community large enough to be self-supporting while charging only nominal fees.
And now, if you're not interested in that one, you could also put in an ad that you're looking for one. You want to do that?
Well, this time I was actually playing around with it, but I think that I might use it in the future for when I might be looking for an apartment or something like that.
Sure. Do you want to look for something, or do you want to advertise?
I want to find gigs or auditions in a band, a certain type of band.
Oh, are you part of a band that's looking for jobs?
I'm alone, looking for an established
You're looking for a band. I
Right.
see. Okay. In that case, what do you play?
Guitar, jazz. You can get pretty much down to what you want. You know, if there's anything that you want that's been fed into the computer, you know, you're likely to find it very easily. The old system was to have a lot of pieces of paper on the, well, there's still a few, but there were many more, and it was very chaotic and difficult to find exactly what you're looking at. There was no kind of order to it. You have to just look around at random, and, you know, it's pretty good. I mean, there should be computers like this in a lot of places, you know, so any musician in town is, I don't know how many people know about this.
Because a number of situations where information is needed to solve problems, people are going to continue pooling their knowledge. Interactive information retrieval systems will increasingly reduce the time and effort needed to gain access to this information.
Like that film as much as I did, only because it's almost 50 years old, and it reflects a lot of the technologies that appeared in the last 10 years, specifically things that became Yelp, various search engines, and advertising for being in a band. I'm not sure. I guess that's Craigslist. I'm not sure where we're going with that, but it's really fascinating to kind of see where it kind of started and where we got to, and the importance of sifting through all that information. There's so much information, and then how it's being sifted through, and then the idea, they're like, well, maybe we can come up with a way that specializes what your interests are and providing you the news, and that we've seen how that's a positive and then how that's a negative. Where now Google is personalizing your search without you even knowing it, and so the amount of information you're getting is supposedly in the direction of what you want, but it's a very I don't know. It's not what I like. It's not the Google that I loved when I switched over from Alta Vista to Google. I like that I got a search, and that's what it was. It was all this information, regardless of what my interests were or what it thought my interests were. So there you go. Let's see, what do we got? It's time to pierce the unknown. Enjoy.
is an area of human endeavor as limitless as outer space, where all progress initially takes shape, where all great achievements begin as human curiosity, the infinite domain of creative thinking. This is the vast realm that is the human mind. Beyond the boundaries of present knowledge are unwritten ideas representing things to come. Only human intelligence can organize the myriad facts and in systematic form. Our great and advanced civilization has been built through continuing scientific developments. All the elements, all the metals and materials have existed since before history began. It is only because we have been increasingly able to reach ahead into the unknown that the world of today exists. From early times, devices to assist man in calculating or computing have been employed. But now, computing problems have become tremendous in this age of atomic power and supersonic flight. Repetitive manual labor has been greatly reduced through the use of machinery, but more than that, machines do work that human muscles could never accomplish. Improved automatic devices also are needed to relieve man of repetitive mental work, not only to free the human mind for creative thinking, but to obtain positive and rapid answers to problems, some of which, in the field of sequential calculation, never have been attempted. In addition to such complicated calculations, our modern world depends on fabulously extensive files of data. Valuable time is consumed in locating and referring to this data. In the process of information handling, however simple it may be, memory or information storage is an indispensable element. In adding the products or sums of numbers, the figures must be set down in order. This is the utilization of information storage. To free the human mind from such work, accessibility of information storage must be as automatic as the calculation itself. Years of research developed the fact that electronics could be used both in rapid calculation and for rapid access to stored information. This is now of vital importance. In the work of defending our civilization against aggression, we cannot take time to use the error method in the search for the most practical design for a guided missile. There are also many peacetime problems. For example, a commercial airplane model of the mid-30s required 70,000 engineering man-hours. The modern airliner requires approximately 12 million engineering man-hours. This is a significant example of today's tremendous computing and processing problems. We can only estimate what tomorrow's designs will demand in time and effort. To meet these ever-increasing problems, IBM now presents the first of a new line of equipment known as electronic data processing machines. These several machines work together as a unit to provide one of the fastest and most versatile means known for the processing of data. New principles have been applied to provide vast capacity for the storage of data and instructions. In magnetic tapes, in magnetic drums, in electrostatic storage. This data can be made available in a few millionths of a second for use in the arithmetic unit. Work which would take even recent electronic sequential calculators 50 hours to do, this equipment can accomplish in less than 7 minutes. Such an achievement did not happen overnight, but was developed over a long period of years by scores of scientists and technicians, and was based on decades of experience in manufacturing machines for use in business offices. This association with business and science revealed the vital need for electromechanical devices which could perform advanced computing operations. It led to the first of 7 significant steps in the growth of today's giant calculators, when in 1929, construction and testing of the first calculating machine to compute and print mathematical tables was completed. This statistical calculator was presented to Columbia University in December of that year. Then, in 1934, interest stimulated by the work performed on this calculator led to the founding of the Thomas J. Watson Astronomical Computing Bureau at Columbia. Here was a new departure in scientific calculation. Tiresome additions, subtractions, multiplications, the looking up of numbers and tables, the reading and writing of figures, all were done by the machines. The need for devices which could go beyond this and actually assist in solving mathematical equations was first filled by the automatic sequence controlled calculator. This, the first giant calculator, was composed of electromechanical devices and was dedicated at Harvard University in 1944. It was immediately applied to the solving of sequential calculations in naval ordnance problems. In 1946, after years of research, electronics was applied to the first production line electronic multiplier when the type 603 was announced. This was expanded 2 years later into the type 604 electronic calculator, which is capable of performing 60 operations in a problem at a constant speed of 6,000 problems per hour. Such speed is possible because electronic devices have the property of producing rapidly recurring pulses and can be used to count at extremely high rates, up to millions of times per second. The 604 is so widely used in industry today that it is being built on a production line basis. Each machine employs 1,300 electronic tubes. This experience in electronic research and application in 1947 led to the building of the Selective Sequence Electronic Calculator, which was installed at IBM World Headquarters in New York. The SSEC solved some of the largest mathematical computations ever completed up to that time. For example, scientists encountered a problem dealing with splitting the uranium atom, requiring 9 million sequential calculations. A mathematician working with a desk calculator would have had to labor over it for 100 years. The SSEC produced the answer in 100 hours. In 1949, the card-programmed electronic calculator was announced. Designed for scientific and engineering sequential calculations, this computer was organized from regular production machines. Instructions originate from punched cards fed into the card reader, from which figures are placed in the storage unit for later use or sent on to the electronic unit, which can calculate more than 80 multiplications a second. The answers may either be printed or punched in cards. Meanwhile, in the IBM laboratories, research was going on more intensively than ever. Machines were needed with greater speed, greater storage capacity, and great flexibility. Extensive research was made into all available electronic tube designs to develop them to meet the precise requirements of computers. One such accomplishment is the Cathode Ray Tube, developed for use as an electrostatic storage unit. Cathode Ray Tube can store the equivalent of 140 decimal digits. Random access to these is almost instantaneous. In a few millionths of a second, any number stored on a tube may be selected for use. Information is stored on the screen of the tube through the presence and absence of charged spots. A scanning electronic beam reads these charges and converts them into electronic pulses. The pulses are interpreted as numbers or instructions. Another component developed as a storage medium is the magnetic drum. These drums are rotating cylinders surfaced with a material which can be easily magnetized. Thousands of digits are stored on the surface of the drum through the presence and absence of magnetized areas. As the drums rotate and are read by many reading units, all the information on their surfaces is available thousands of times a minute. Still another development is the magnetic tape. The tapes are plastic oxide-coated ribbons with information recorded on them by means of magnetized spots. The information in several office filing cabinets can be stored on one reel of tape. It is possible to record data onto the tapes or to read information from them at the rate of thousands of decimal digits a second. Such components are being investigated and developed constantly. Thus, when accelerated national defense created a need for a better calculator, the components were ready. These new principles now have been incorporated in the electronic data processing machines, and they are ready to assist in solving the complex problems which defense measures in an era of supersonic speed and atomic power have created. For example, a rocket cannot be aimed like an artillery shell, whose weight does not change and which coasts to its mark. The rocket becomes lighter as its fuel burns. Its motor exerts a changing thrust as the fuel is exhausted. And there are many other factors to be considered, and each may change in the fraction of a second. The trial and error method cannot be used. We must know before we build the rocket exactly how it will behave. To calculate this, we take all factors into account and plot the missile's path in intervals of 1/10 of a second for the required length of time. For a typical calculation performed on the card program calculator, 75 seconds are required for each point on the path, or a total of approximately 2 hours for one set of conditions. Since we must study, in this case, the paths for at least 25 different designs, approximately 50 hours were required on the card-programmed calculator. Now, electronic data processing machines can perform all these sequential calculations and print the results for the 25 sets of conditions in less than 7 minutes. Now, more time will be available for pre-testing each model, as well as for creative thinking. To illustrate the great potentialities of this equipment, let us trace this problem briefly as it proceeds through the machines. On a few feet of magnetic tape, the weights, thrusts, and all other basic information for the 25 different rocket designs are recorded. Also on tape are recorded instructions to tell the equipment how to do the problem. When the equipment is started, the instructions and data are read from the tape at a rate equivalent to 12,500 decimal digits per second. The instructions and data then pass to the electrostatic storage unit, where they appear on the cathode ray tube screens. Part of the information instructs the machine to begin the program and carry out the specified calculations. Instructions and data go back and forth between the electrostatic storage and the arithmetic unit, and computing is accomplished. Intermediate results are recorded on the magnetic drum to be available when required, all under control of the instructions originally stored on the magnetic tape. The results are recorded on the tape for permanent storage, or recorded by the printer. In this problem, the values are printed for each second of the rocket's path, for the velocity, position, acceleration, yaw, pitch, and roll of the rocket. The final values tell where the rocket will land. All of the data, not only on one rocket design, but on 25 variations, are produced in less than 7 minutes. Thus, it is now practical to investigate hundreds of detailed designs because of the tremendous capacities and speeds of this new calculator. The reading speeds are significant. Writing is not only fast, but versatile. Processing speeds permit computations in microseconds. Storage is vast and flexible. This is a triumph of advanced storage and calculating techniques, components developed against a large background of research. A triumph, yes, but no matter how great a thing is, there is always room for improvement. Today, the components and parts, the machines of tomorrow, are taking shape in the research laboratories. In order to ensure that no approach has been ignored, researchers are studying the characteristics of many different elements. One component being investigated is the transistor, a small piece of germanium and wire. There is also research in progress pertaining to magnetic cores and ferroelectric materials. The defense effort has taken priority, but advanced studies are underway to adapt new electronic components for service in business. For electronics is the fastest and most versatile means known for handling accounting and statistical data. The people of IBM long ago took the lead in this field and are maintaining it with advanced production methods applied here to the new electronic data processing machines being assembled. Yes, new progress is being made because the electron, the smallest particle in nature, has been harnessed to count and brought to the aid of scientists and businessmen who are expanding the frontiers of knowledge. For after all, the real barrier is time. The shape of things to come may now be resolved in decades instead of centuries. The years may be compressed, the future stream accelerated, because the human mind has been relieved of much repetitive work to devote itself to creative thinking, to go on, piercing the unknown.
There is a lot to like about that film. I didn't quite know from the title. I knew that it was tech-oriented based on what I quickly browsed through, but I didn't quite 100% understand that the correlation between this and the film that we showed, Access. But certainly, this is all about the exciting new technologies in 1953 that would allow us to process lots of data. Data. We love it. The data. So I guess this was a kind of an addition to what we showed last week with the computer films and my nephew. And he will be back on Friday, and I'm going to try to get him to pick some films. I kind of got him started with this because he wasn't quite sure what I had, so I'm going to try to nudge him and see if he can pick a topic. Thanks for tuning in today. Very much appreciate your eyeballs and your comments, and if you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up button, smash that like button, share what we're doing, tell other people, comment, of course, subscribe. And you can buy us coffee if you go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks. That's a great way to support us by feeding us caffeine to stimulate our nervous systems. We'll be back again tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon. Take care.